Text. Welcome and framing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 10:15 session in room 327. Next, we have a talk activity all about networking presented by Deanna Schneider of Extension and Christian Schmieder. So please enjoy.
The photo shows water falling from a shower head.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deanna Schneider. I'm the Director of the Office of Digital Solutions at the Division of Extension, which is a fancy way of saying I'm the IT Director.
And I am the Assistant Director of said office. So what we want to do today is we want to talk a little bit about Zoom, which is very fitting because as I'm standing here, I'm pretty uncomfortable. It's one of these situations where you see a call for presentations like, oh yeah, we're going to totally talk about this thing. It's going to be awesome. And then we stand on stage and it's, okay, here we are. So here we are. And we want to talk about discomfort. So we're going to talk about discomfort in a cold shower metaphor, and I'll jump into that as well. And then we're going to have an activity for you all.
Because the best way to deal with your discomfort is to practice it.
As it turns out, unfortunately. So a friend of mine a couple of years ago started having cold showers in the morning. And he was telling me about it and how great it is and how invigorating. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to be a cold shower guy. I want to be this kind of mind over matter, get in there and yes, stoic, great. I want to do that. I tried it and the showers kept being cold. It didn't get warmer. Like I thought if I do this often enough, it will get better. But it didn't. So I thought maybe I'm not cold shower material. Maybe I just don't have it in me. I'm not that kind of guy. Okay, I give up. A couple years later, I went through the more leadership training through the University of Wisconsin, and there the coaches talked a lot about discomfort and being actually comfortable with discomfort. So one of the things they asked us to do is to walk around and network when we are in big crowds. And I always felt that was a little bit uncomfortable. And I looked at other colleagues and they would like walk around and, you know, shake hands. And I could almost feel like some kind of like a, you know, music background. And they're like just walking through the room and sliding and doing all the things. And they're friends with everybody. And I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I could be that person. I wish I could be that comfortable. So as part of more, I tried to practice this action of walking around, shaking people's hand, doing that uncomfortable thing. I did it at a conference and I realized, well, I'm not getting any more comfortable with this. I did it. I walked to every table. I introduced myself. I did some really awkward introspection afterwards and I didn't feel good about it. But then I realized that that's not really the point, right? And so the next day, folks were thinking I was an extrovert. I'm like, I'm just cosplaying as one. Like I'm not really an extrovert. But what I learned is folks really don't see inside of me as much as I see inside of myself. And I also realized that discomfort is just part of it. I'm pretty uncomfortable right now. I'm shaky a little bit, actually. And that's normal and that's okay. So what I realized with the cold showers was that I labeled myself as I'm not a cold shower guy because I don't get comfortable with this thing. And I realized that being comfortable with discomfort is actually the best we can do. It's like it's always going to be awkward to do awkward things. It's always going to be tough to do tough things. But what I actually can train is my ability to manage that discomfort. So that's the cold shower idea. The cold shower doesn't get any warmer just because you're in the shower, in the cold shower more often. And that's okay. So what we want to try today with you all is to not make the water be warmer, but to practice being comfortable with discomfort.
Text. Chad Littlefield's principles. Connection before content.
There we go. So if you've ever done the cold shower thing or if you read anything about the cold shower thing, there are some techniques that people use to help them deal with that discomfort, some breathing techniques, some mindfulness techniques. It goes really well with the thing that we talked about this morning at the keynote. And it's also important to have some techniques that you can employ when you're trying to do the discomfort, the uncomfortable thing of networking. So we're going to share with you today some Chad Littlefield principles. How many people have heard of Chad Littlefield? No one. Oh, awesome. Oh, Chad Littlefield is a super cool guy. His whole premise is around connection before content. So he thinks it's really important that people have authentic connections with each other before they try to dive into any kind of meaningful interactions. Because if you don't have that connection first, then you don't have your foundation on which you can build. And he has lots of tools and techniques out there. If you Google him, you'll get to see some video of him in the Cole Center with like thousands of students, because he's been here on campus doing presentations, doing some of the activities that you're going to do today. So he talks about leading with curious questions. And so we're going to practice some curious questions today. So before we dive into that, one of the reasons I'm bringing you these is because in the MORE program, we learned about the 4 I's. How many people have done the MORE program? Who remembers what the first I is? Initiate. What's the second one? Inquire. Third one? Invest. And fourth one? Influence. Super easy things to remember. None of them are an I for introvert. I don't know why. Except for that, it's really easy for me to walk up. I can initiate. Now I get to that inquire one. And I'm like, Great. I don't have like naturally for me, because I am an introvert and I suck at small talk. I really do. I suck at it. So I want to have some things in my back pocket, some questions that I can ask that aren't the small talk questions, because I won't remember the things that we talk about if we talk about small talk stuff. And I won't be able to invest in that relationship with you and then later influence because it's just small talk and it's meaningless for me. But if I ask you curious questions that get you to talk about something that's real for you and real for me, then I actually can invest in that relationship. Yesterday, I had this hallway conversation that started off talking about a haircut because I just got my haircut recently and ended up talking about the geology of the Ice Age. And it was an awesome circuitous path that all linked, but that's the rarity, right? Like most of the time I don't have those sort of like easy flowing conversations if I don't have something to help me like prompt that activity first. So here's how this activity is going to work. I have a bunch of cards. Can you help me out here?
Yep.
Let's practice.
The green cards are the easiest ones. The blue cards are a little bit deeper, and the purple cards are going to drive into a little bit of self-reflection. And we're going to pass out some cards. You get to pick a card, and then we're going to have you get up, and you're going to find a partner somewhere in the room, and you're going to discuss the question you picked with your partner. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to do this, and then we're going to come back together, and then we're going to do another thing.
Lists of green questions and blue questions.
I also am going to put the questions on the screen that are the blue and the green ones. I couldn't fit them all. Tiny text, sorry. But that's for the people online. If you want to play along, you can think about these questions, or for you guys, if you don't, if you want to read them from up there. Did you get this one?
Yeah, I will. I'm putting the questions on the end of the table. So please get up and grab one from there. That way you have a bigger variation of questions to pick from, not just the ones that were first next to was passing out.
This is you jumping into a cold shower.
I
don't know.
Yeah, there's some greens here. Yeah. You expected a smaller room, so you need to walk.
Yep, walk around, find somebody. If you have can't find a duo, find a trio. One card. One card. Just one card.
One you're comfortable with, or slightly
Just
uncomfortable.
one card, any color you choose. One that you're willing to have a conversation about with somebody.
Text. Green questions. What is one thing you are doing now that your future self will thank you for? How do you celebrate when you achieve an important goal? What is one effective time management technique you use? What is a personal habit you are proud of, and how did it come to be? What activities would you like to take up most of your time? How do you reconnect with yourself when you are feeling out of sorts? What aspect of your life deserves more of your energy? What part of your daily routine is non-negotiable? In what ways do you make room for personal growth? What is one of the biggest risks you have taken that paid off? What relationships are you pouring the most energy into right now? What is a tear you would like to overcome? What does having balance in life actually mean to you? What would your future self say to you right now? What are 3 words that best describe how you want to feel in your daily life? What is a way that you would like to pay it forward? What is a small way that you could improve your relationships? What is something you would like to start doing? What is something you would like to stop doing? What is something you would like to continue doing? Blue questions. What one thing have you always wanted to do but never had the chance? What brings you joy? What is a dream that you have had for a long time? What would you like to be different? What possibilities do you see for yourself in the future? What is something that you are looking forward to? What is something you would like to create? What simple things bring you peace and fulfillment? What does a truly ideal week look like for you? Who is one person you want to spend more time around next year? Who do you aspire to be more like? Who is someone you would love to meet? What music always makes you feel better? What does your perfect morning look like? If you could solve one problem in the world, what would it be? What is something you have always considered but never started? If you could start a new career tomorrow, what would it be? What does success in relationships look like to you? If you could instantly gain a skill, what would it be? If you had unlimited funds, how would you improve your community?
Wait 5 minutes. So if the second person hasn't started answering, make sure you switch questions. Switch questions.
Activities. So outside of work, I would like to be in one space. Because I enjoy talking to people. I have to write. But I don't have like a kind of space all the last week of press, like on the side. My background. So I've always like thought someday I'll retire and be right? And that happens sometimes when you work, allow it to, whether you're building something, right? Yeah, so I wish I did Never seen it. Sean was also super into it, so it's just like
Try to wrap up your conversation in about 30 seconds.
Actually catches up, I've actually read past it. Yeah. Which is like those opportunities to share.
All right, this is always the hardest part, getting people's attention again after they started networking. Hey, everybody, quiet. Look up. Standing. You don't-
This is the hardest part.
The hardest part, getting people's attention. Hello. Just stay, you can just stay where you are. Stay where you are, but quiet. I feel like I'm using future voice, sorry. Who wants to tell us how that felt? Anyone? Awkward, yeah.
It's fun.
Fun?
So it's extrovert, yeah.
Fun for the extrovert. Yeah. Listen to them in the back. Yeah.
But I'm also strong in a kill for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it, but it's fire.
Yeah.
That is a specific point we talked about, with how exhausted it will make them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For the introverts, it does run down the battery, right? It runs down the battery less for me than it does talking about the weather. For me personally.
Yeah. You get some energy off the gate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Okay, so that time, you have the option of picking your question. Now we're gonna add a little more discomfort. We're gonna turn down the temperature of the water a little bit more. For in your pairs, I want you to swap cards. And then I want you to find a new pair so that you have to use the question that somebody else picked. And then you have another 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I grab.
You're close.
I'm not, I'm part of the. I'm working back. Technology for I assume that the folks at Dell, the folks at this other company, worked together and stepped out. Had in fact validated that it was together. And we're very together. It's a company called Technology. And when it all came back, and I got it all installed, it was delayed by a month because of manufacturing issues that are our control. But when it did get it in there, it went to the server that was expected. And it took us 6 weeks back and forth to pick up on it. Get it. So we can understand how it's and I was hands off. I should have gotten involved a lot sooner, because I just expected that these two entities would and it became a emphasize, and so and not a great experience all the way around. So we eventually got it installed, not only by the market, we're still going back to Delta. But if I need to get more hands on that. I have a bad habit of doing that, because these work. I've done a lot more. Well, I said all the things that were always trying to be like. Yeah, and I mean, I love my sysadmin on the show. They're a lot more about the hardware thing. So they get got just at my level of volume. What is I did notice that
And hopefully that I'm actually planning. Yeah. We only have 2 minutes. Make sure that. At the same time, I can no, I mean, depending on market, but, it's like.
A good conversation in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I think. To hear the need from we are now. As opposed to, so we're new to the community, don't have roots where I was here.
All right, guys, find your seats, please. Hear my voice. Wrong direction.
Let's debrief. An illustration shows silhouettes of people in different rainbow colors connected by a network of lines.
All right. Which one? Oh, that's the next one.
Oh.
We'll get there. I'm also slide challenged, sorry. Who learned something interesting about the person that you were speaking to that you would like to share?
I hope they don't mind me sharing. I met someone who we talked about what do we typically do when there's big changes in our life. They actually write a timeline, like type it up in a Google Doc of like what they might want to do or need to do with that big change. That was amazing to me. I thought that was super cool. And then they sometimes read it back to themselves like later in life.
Excellent. Anyone else want to share one thing that they learned? Still a lot of discomfort, huh?
There's a thing called a Paraguayan heart. I learned that there's a thing called a Paraguayan harp, and there's a person who's always wanted to learn to play one.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, and now.
Very cool. All right, so how hard was that for everybody? Really hard? Not so hard? Not hard. Not hard? Excellent.
Say not hard because I have the questions of the project.
Yeah. So what I found after I had a session with Chad Littlefield and I had these questions as a crutch, I actually carried them around in my backpack, in my pocket. And I would walk up to people and I would say, like, hey, I'm practicing trying to make more authentic connections with people. Do you mind if I ask you a question? And it was a great way for me to get over that, how do I inquire? Hump that I felt myself stuck on when in my networking practice. So what I would encourage you to do today is to take those cards with you.
Closing and
We
takeaways.
are just the beginning of a long day of spending time together. Use them as your crutch. Embrace that discomfort. Try it again and again. It gets easier with practice, a little bit. It'll always probably be a little uncomfortable for those of us who are introverts. And be gentle with yourself. Because it's not always easy, and that's okay.
The dog with a towel over its head covering its eyes.
Yeah, be also gentle with yourself in terms of your battery is empty and your battery is empty. That's not like, it doesn't mean that you're not great at X, or it doesn't define you as a person. Like, you don't have to internalize that this is exhausting. You're just exhausted, and then you do what you need to do. After that meeting where I went from table to table, the next day there was a social mixer, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be in the hotel room tonight because my battery is empty, and I'm going to play Slay the Spire all night because I deserve it.
Right.
Right? Right. Which also was, yeah, hard, but that's very good. So acknowledge also your own battery, right? You don't have to be in the cold shower for hours. You can have a cold shower for 10 seconds and then make it up and be comfortable.
Yeah, I really like what Mark had said this morning about listening to your internal voice. So listen to it, recognize when you need a break, but also don't let it tell you that you can't do this, because you can. And you can be okay with it being uncomfortable. Any questions?
Not a question, but an observation. So, I totally feel the awkwardness and it feeling uncomfortable. However, the way that I'm looking at it is that in the conversations that I had this morning with these questions, I felt good coming out of those conversations and really making that kind of connection. So that was a real positive for me.
Excellent. Was everyone able to hear that, or you want me to repeat what he said? Yeah, for the online folks, what he said was that he had a comment that coming out of these questions, out of that activity with having the questions as a crutch, he actually felt really good coming out of those questions. So even though it's hard, he left it feeling good.
Going with the cold shower metaphor is during the summer, I take cold showers, and even though you never really get to like them, I do try to like just sort of breathe when I get into the shower and let the water run over me. And I think of like how it makes my skin feel. And it feels a lot better when I'm enjoying the contrast between the cold on my skin and the warmth inside of you. And so maybe there's a correlation between having an awkward conversation, just sort of observing how you're feeling and kind of like going with the flow, enjoying the difference, you know.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There might be comments on Zoom.
Are there comments on Zoom?
I'm reviewing them right now.
You're reviewing them?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Comments, questions? Nicole, are there ones you want to share?
No, you're not. It's not the environment.
Okay. I think we are at time, although we love awkward pauses. Thank you all for being uncomfortable. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for engaging with us in this experiment. And we hope that the cards will help you a little bit. And if you want to be cold today, it's a wonderful day for that. So if you want to take a brisk walk and put that into practice, then this may be a good idea.
Thank you so much.